Good evening, everybody. Let me see if somebody is going to come on. I'm always just jumping on these lives and I'm trying to get things together. Keep telling you guys that I'm going to come on and do this and I am trying a new camera and trying to look at the camera and also look at the screen to see you guys' comments. So please forgive me if I'm not looking directly into the screen. But this evening, I wanted to come on because I was thinking about something that I think is very important when it comes to medical billing and practice management and just a small practice in general. If you read the title, you will know what it's about, which is the importance of the front end. And I also wanted to ask you guys when you jump in, just please let me know where you're jumping in from, where you're viewing me from. I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube presently at the moment. So let me know where in the world you are and where you are joining in from. Well, I think that shows on StreamYard. So just let me know where in the world you are so that we can connect. I am in the US Virgin Islands. And like I said, I just wanted to jump on today to speak to you about the importance of the front end of a practice. So hopefully it's not going to be too long, depending on how engaged you guys are. It might run a little bit longer, but I'm planning to maybe stay around 15, 30 minutes and speak to you guys about this. Give you time to ask me questions if you have any questions that you want to ask and, go on from there. So I'm trying to make this, like I said, more a regular thing, something that maybe we can do once or twice a month. I have a lot of things going on, so I don't want to commit to just, you know, say I'm going to commit to like a specific day of the week every time. But if we can maybe agree on something, then I'll try to commit to that to come on. Second thing is, if I look a little shiny, which I hope I'm not, and I hope my ring light is not in the giving a glare off in the camera, but I feel a little shiny. I feel like I'm gonna get really hot because there are lights I have on the fan, but if I put it up too loud, you guys are not gonna be able to hear me well. So I didn't want to put it up too loud. So I'm over here sweating. I just came in and I have on these long sleeve sweater that I usually wear when I go to work, and I might have to take it off. But anyway, let's jump into why I am here. I am here today to speak about the importance of the front end. People call it the front end, the front desk of a small practice, a physician small office, however you want to name it. My name is Tamika, if you don't know, and I have been a medical biller for the past 17 years, I believe it is, and I have worked primarily in a small practice, meaning one to maybe three doctors at a time. So a small practice doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be one doctor, it can be a few doctors, but it's small in nature, maybe small in the amount of patients that is being seen or in revenue. And what I have been noticing a lot of working in these small practices is that they don't put a lot of emphasis on the front end. And I think that is very important because the front end is, let me start off by saying that each area of your small practice is important, period. There's no one side that is better or more important or greater than the next. And there may be people who disagree with me when I say that, but that's what I truly believe. Because we all have to work together to get things done. If a doctor decided that they wanted to, or a doctor or a healthcare provider decided that they want to open their practice, but they have no staff. They have no encoding, billing, whatever for them. They will eventually either lose their mind or close their office because they're not making enough money. There's no way for, unless they're seeing, I don't know, 5 patients in a day maybe, and then they're also billing, coding, doing whatever, and they're keeping up on that. That might work, but they need staff. And we, as the staff, need them to do the job because we can know what to do, how to check people in, all of the things above. But if we don't know, if we don't have a provider for the patients to see, then they're not going to come to us because they don't have anyone to see. So providers need staff and staff need providers. And staff and providers need all of their staff, the front end, the back end, the clinicians, the housekeepers, the IT people. They need all of these people to make things work. But we're going to basically talk about the front end today because the front end is where your patient, that's the face of your company. Now, you might be the best doctor. You might be the best healthcare provider out there in whatever specialty that you specialize in. And you might be OBGYN, you might specialize in mental health, in podiatrist, ophthalmology. Like you might be the best in whatever that specialty is. But if they don't get past your front end, your front desk, the patient will never see you to know that you are the best in what you do. So you need to invest in your front end, in your front desk. Now, when people ask me, like I said, I am a medical biller, and when people ask me, sometimes they say if they want to get into medical billing or medical coding, they say it's hard to get in. They're always asking for a lot of experience in this area, and I don't have that. How can I get into eventually doing medical billing or medical coding? And I tell them, try to get your foot in the door through the front end. And when I say that, sometimes they like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to start there. You know, I got my certification. Why am I have to start there? But to be honest with you, there are some people who go right into medical billing or right into medical coding, and that's possible. There's some people who can't, and they have to start at the front end, but that's not a loss if you start at the front end. If you start at the front end, you and then make your way up to being a medical biller, being a medical coder, I think it, especially being a medical biller, I think it helps you so much because with being a medical biller, there are a lot of things that the front end deals with that you need to have that can make your job easier, that can make you be able to bill correctly and get your claims paid. So the front desk is very important. As the head, the office manager, the physician, or the healthcare provider in that practice, you need to make sure that you invest in your front end. You invest in them with education, you invest in them with training, with having processes and procedures put in place so that they know what to do when patients come in, when patients are scheduling appointments. So let me rewind back a little bit. If you don't know what the front end of a practice is, it's basically when you're doing your, your registration, your pre-registration, your eligibility, verification, stuff like charts, pulling of the charts and stuff, collecting payments for your services. That's basically done at the front end. If you're a patient and you have never like you don't know how the doctor office really runs, that is what the front desk is, or the front end. So they are the first person or the first people that patients see. And patients tend to build a bond not only with the physician, but also with the front end staff. So if your front end staff is knowledgeable and they know what to do, this can help build your practice. Remember, if you're just joining on, please say hello, say hi, let me know where you are viewing from so we can, communicate and say hi. I'm just talking about the front end of a practice, of your small practice, whether you're an office manager running this practice, whether you are interested in getting into medical billing, because the front end is very important when it comes to medical billing. So that's something that you really need to invest in, is what I'm trying to say. Um, there is a lot of, as far as things that the front end needs to know. Hi, Raspberry, how are you? Where are you joining in from? I'm from the U.S. Virgin Islands. Well, I reside in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I'm not from the U.S. Virgin Islands, but I reside in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Where are you joining us from? And I'd like to know if you are in a small practice or in any area of the revenue cycle in a small practice, because, like I was stating earlier, I have worked primarily as a biller in a small practice. Oh, in South Carolina, great, great, okay, and okay, so front end errors for claims denied, and see, what I have also noticed with a lot of small practices, they tend to combine billing, front end, back end. Whoever is there and can help, they tend to mix everything up. So to be honest with you, you work some of billing, because if you were working denied claims, then you've done a little billing yourself already. Even though you might have been in the front end, and I don't know if you were also doing maybe registration or checking in, checking out. If you were doing that as well, then you were both in the front end and the back end, because denied claims is usually a back end job, so that's good. That's good. I feel like it's important to know everything. It's important that you know everything about what I want to say. You want to know how the practice runs. You want to know the complete revenue cycle if you can. You might not know it. Uh, might not be an expert in it, but you should at least know how it runs, so you can know what part that you play within that revenue cycle, within that practice. Like I was stating earlier, it is important. Everybody's position at this practice or at any practice that you're at is important. From front end to the last part of that, everybody's position plays an important role. And more providers need to understand that, so that they can invest more in their front end staff. And not just, number one, expect them to know things when you don't have things laid out for them to know. You don't have a process, or you don't have a system for them to know. You don't give them any additional training. You expect them to just figure things out. Customer service is the one of the most important things, because if you have rude staff and the patients don't like your staff, they're not going to go any further. They're not going to go to see the doctor. They're not going to continue to want to see the doctor. So the front end is your face, is the face of your business, and you want to make sure that you invest in them and let them know how important they are and what their position is and the role that they play in your small practice. So I wanted to speak about this today because I have been encountering several providers that, I've encountered one who, wanted some help, or, said that this is going on or that's going on. And then when it was time to invest, it was like, well, no, I can't do that, or, the biller just needs to do this, or, something to that situation. But they have to remember that everybody plays a role when it comes to having a successful practice. Like I was stating earlier, the provider can't do it alone. The staff can't do it alone. We all need to work together, and everybody needs to be trained. Yes, it's important to have communication and updates on it. Yes, that is also very, very important, especially, with the payers, as you mentioned. Well, communication in general. everyone should be able to, I should be able to go to the provider and speak to them. I should be able to go to the front end and speak to them, whoever's up front, if there's, things missing that I need and I continuously see that they're missing. I should be able to speak to the staff up front. I should also be able to speak to the provider if he or she is documenting, not documenting well, or documenting too little, or whatever the situation is. I should be able to be able to speak to them and communicate with them. And I'm just learning this StreamYard thing, so please forgive me. I think there's a way that I can show the questions, right? Okay, I got it. Yes. Okay. So yes, that's where I was saying. Yes, it's important to have communication and to update on payers. Totally, I totally agree with that. And then I think you are amazing information. Yes, Lady C. Hi, Lady C. I know that name. And I'm gonna be doing your questions soon. You had a question, and I just recorded it, so I just need to upload it. So I will be uploading the video about bundling for you soon. I hope it does it justice, but I'll be doing that soon. But yes, I had to learn this because it took me a while. Sometimes you get in a position and you kind of get comfortable in that position. So you kind of figure like you know things, you're in one specific specialty, you know stuff. So you kind of figure, well, I'm good at it, I'm just going to do that. But to be a good medical biller, I believe, is to just continue to learn. Always be open to learning new things, to changes that's going on, because in billing and healthcare technology, with every area that you go in, technology is kind of taking over, and you have to learn new things. So you definitely can be a very good medical biller, but that's going to be up to you. No one's going to be able to make you do that unless you want to. I work in the office and doing this. Yes, that's me too. I do both. I work in the office and I work remote doing the physician billing. And how do you like that? How do you like because there are, for me, differences in working in the office and working remotely. So how do you feel about doing it, and which one do you like better? I can say. I mean, maybe you like both. You never know. But which one do you like better? Oh, okay. Yes. Well, no problem. You can set that session. I'll be excited to speak to you. I do offer remote one-on-one consultations. So if you are on YouTube, you can look in my link in the description. If the link is in the description. If you are on LinkedIn or Facebook, you can go to my website. It's www.itsallmedicalbilling.com. And I probably should have that scrolling somewhere, but I'm new to this, guys. So, but again, the website is www.itsallmedicalbilling.com, and you can go and set up a consultation for a one-on-one remote consultation, and we can just talk. Yeah. So the front end is, like I said, it's really, really important. You have to understand that if it comes to eligibility and verification, when it comes to greeting customers, when it comes to greeting patients, when it comes to registering and getting the correct information, putting that into the system, making sure it's right, all of those things play a really important role, because when you have the wrong information, when you have the wrong insurance card and you don't have the primary but you have the secondary, and when it's time to send out a bill, you will get a lot of rejections, you will get a lot of denials, and that takes up time, and time is money. So you want to make sure that your staff at the front is doing it correctly, so that when it goes to the back end, there's not too many errors. We don't have to play the game of calling patients back or having to call the insurance company, because like one of you said, the payers, communicating with the payers, that's key. because they're the ones we're getting the money from. And if we don't, if we have to continuously speak to them, now we know there's really a short staff in jobs, different areas. When we call these insurance companies, if you are, the one doing the calling, you might hear roosters in the background, the person's baby crying. Like, you don't want to have to deal with that and continuously be talking to these representatives over and over again because of errors or denials that are made because of things that are done in the front end. So you want to make sure that your front end is trained, they know what they do, what to do. They have processes and procedures and policies in place so that they can know what to do and things can run smoothly. If you notice a lot of errors, sometimes if you're an actual biller, you would notice that a lot of errors are made at the front end. And I don't think that's because necessarily it's so hard, but I think it's because they do not get the training that they need to be the best, front staff that they can be. Yes, you have to focus when you're at home. Yes, I totally agree with you because when I started off doing billing remotely, it took me some time to get my rhythm, to get a routine. I have always been, I believe, not okay. Let me rephrase that. Let me reel that back. I have become an organized person. I wasn't born that way. Throughout my high school years, I wasn't really too organized, but I was organized enough, and I was organized at work. But then when I got to start doing it remotely, like you say, you have to focus. You're home. I don't know if you guys do this, but when I'm home, I have to really focus and do my billing because I could be thinking about all other things. Oh, I need to do the laundry. What am I going to cook? If you have kids, if you have a spouse and they're home, you might want to be out there with them. So it takes time to adjust, and you have to get a routine that will help you to be the best that you can be. You really have to get a routine. Oh, you're having problems with your remit denials. Okay, yeah. So what type of denials are you getting? What's the reasoning behind it? Yes, Raspberry. Yes, yes, it is. It's crazy, and it's because I think it's maybe like two things. Because first, number one, sometimes when you're a part of a practice and it's very busy, you might be answering phones, you're uh, checking in patients, you're doing lots of things, you're juggling a lot of things. Of course, we're human, stuff could happen. Things could get transposed, numbers can be put in wrong, and that happens a lot. The other thing I think too, again, I keep going back to the education part, because so you would think that probably they should know, well, that they should put in the correct IDs, But when a person doesn't understand the role that they play at a practice, when the person feels like, oh well, maybe they're not getting paid enough, because most people at the front end don't get paid a lot. And that's because the providers or whoever's paying them don't feel like their job is as important. And that shouldn't be, because their job is very important. So with that, in your mind, you might be, well, I'm not going to try my best because I don't get paid that much anyway. So I'm just going to do this. And that affects everything. So now you have all of these policy number issues, or they might not have taken a copy of the card, so you can't look in the system to see it. You have to call the patient, and it just takes up time. So that's not good. All right, yeah, you can. Yes, you can imagine the ER. The ER can be crazy. Like the amount of things that you have to do, and even with that, I had a provider who would tell me, you know, the provider would say it doesn't take much to check in somebody and answer some phones. And I used to really have to try to explain to the provider that it looks like it's just that, but there's a lot more that they're doing. And maybe you need to come and do it. Like I working in a small office, I had to also fill in. Okay, so I was filling in also because I was the office manager. So I had to, when people are sick and when people are called out and people are on vacation, and you just have to keep going. You can't say, oh well, the person at the front is not here, so we're just gonna stop seeing patients. No, someone has to jump in. And I have been the person who had to jump in. And that's what I know where I like to be and what I like to do. I like the fact that I know the whole revenue cycle, including the triaging and, triaging patients and getting information from patients and setting up the room. Like I know that as well, but that's not my forte. That's not what I want to do. But I like the fact that I know that because then I know how that plays a role in what I do as a biller, So as of in the front desk, they need to also know their role that they play. The providers was feeling like, what's such a big deal? All you gotta do is answer some phone calls. And it's not just that, if you have ever worked in an office and you're answering phones and checking people in and trying to collect a copay from somebody and filing away a chart and looking at the fax machine, like you're doing a lot of things, you're multitasking, and you may not be able, will most likely be errors. And that is why, with this day and age, you try to make as much as you can automated so that these errors won't occur. They will occur. I'm just going to say that. They will definitely occur. Okay? So I like the technology like the next person, but you're still going to have errors. A computer is made by man, and there's still going to be errors. And that's why I've gotten some questions too, like, do you think that AI is going to take over billing and that there is not going to be any billing jobs? And to be really honest with you, I don't. I mean, I'm not a psychic and I don't know, but I really don't think so, because even with all of the technology that we have and all of the things that's supposed to be automated, you still need somebody to overlook those things. So I don't think we will be out of jobs. And I think there are too many physicians and healthcare providers out there that need our services and need us to do billing. So yeah, I don't think so. Raspberry, yes. I'm laughing because I have seen so many managers do that. And you cannot lead a team like that. Like you really can't. In order to be a good leader, in my opinion, you need to know everything. There's no way for me to lead you and I don't know half of what you do. Now I'm not saying I'm supposed to know everything. That's not true. I can't possibly know everything. But I should have an idea of what you should be doing in order to lead you. Number one. Number two, if I am a leader, we are a team. I'm not your dictator. I'm not your ruler or anything. We're a team. And I'm just trying to lead you and guide you in a direction. So hiding, like I said, I laugh at that because I have been in several offices where you can't even get the manager out. Like you said, they're hiding in the office and you could be calling them and they will not come out of their office. And that's crazy. That's too crazy to me. Crazy. Hi, LaKoya. No, did I say that right? Please forgive me. I think that's the name. But hi. Yes, how are you? Thank you for joining. But yeah, it's crazy. Managers, you can't, people sometimes take their titles and feel like because they're a manager or because they are supposedly in a higher position than you, that they don't need to do work and they don't need to do the hard work and brunt work. But I have never been office manager like that. Never, ever, ever. You can ask anybody that I have worked with. I don't do that. If we have to get, I can delegate to you, and I can lead you, and I also can be there in the thick of it with you. If you have, and I always tell my staff, if you have a problem, if you have an issue, I don't have a problem helping you. Now, I'm not going to help you knowing that you weren't doing anything else and you're intentionally not doing what you have to do. I'm not getting paid to do your job. But if you really and truly need help, and I know that, maybe we were short staffed and so you were the only one in the front, I'm going to come out there and I'm going to help you do stuff. I'm going to help you check in. I'm going to help you, do whatever you have to do. I am going to get in it and help. I'm not going to go and just hide, So I laugh about that because I see so many managers doing that, and that's crazy. I don't see how you could lead it. I don't see how you can have a staff and want them to respect you if you do something like that. That's my biggest thing. You need to work together as a team. You as the manager cannot do it alone, and they're out there working their butts off, getting patients who curse them out and who get mad at them, and you're in there hiding. That's crazy. I really think that's crazy. But pretty much that's what I just wanted to speak about, was that you need to treat your front end better. You need to understand that they play a big role in your practice and the success of your practice. You need to understand that without them, your revenue will not be flowing like you want to, that they can, though they're the way they do their job can make or break your practice pretty much. And so you need to invest in them. You need to know that their roles are important. So if you guys have any questions about billing, any questions about I don't know, well, a lot of you here I think are on YouTube, so you already know about my channel, and I'm trying to make sure I stay consistent with that. If you guys have any topics that you want me to discuss, I can try my best to do that. Do I have any training courses? Now, I just got certified as a certified professional biller instructor through AAPC, and I was working on doing a course through them, but to be transparent, I'm having problems with that area of that, but I'm still working on doing something as far as the course is concerned. So I may be partnering up with someone. And if at the minute that I do, I will let you guys know for sure. I will definitely let you guys know. But I want to make sure that it's something that's going to be beneficial. Something that's going to be beneficial for you guys. Because I talk to a lot of different people. A lot of people take, medical billing and coding courses. They usually take them because they're together. And they end up spending all this money, and then they come out and they have no idea what is what and what to do. Now, don't get me wrong. When you take a course, you're not going to learn everything. Please keep that in mind. You will not know everything when you finish taking any course. I don't care how good the course is. You won't know everything. But it will, or it should, let me say that, not that it will, it should give you a basic foundation. You should feel comfortable enough to feel like you know a little bit, but you will always continue to learn. You will always be learning. So as far as some courses are concerned, like I said, I'm still working on that, working to partner with someone so that we can do that. And I'm hoping that I can come soon, at least, by June or so, July. I hate to give dates and then don't say nothing. So let me pick that out. But I am hoping soon to be able to offer some courses. What do you do? Do you do anything right now, LaCoya? Are you a biller? Is it something that you're specifically interested in learning in billing? Because again, there are different areas that you can get into. as a small practice. Sometimes with now I like if you I don't know if you were here when I said before, but I basically primarily have been in a physician's office, and so I personally like that because I was in a physician's office, I had to do everything and every area. Most of the time when you're in a, let's say, a hospital setting or a bigger facility where it's so big that they have to keep like one person to do one thing, one person to do payment posting, one person to do denials, one person to do rejections, or something like that, or they have like an area of accounts receivables or area of payment posting. You're only learning that one thing. And I personally, I like to learn. So I enjoy the fact that I can learn about denials and appeals and Blue Cross Blue Shield, Medicare, VA. Like I can learn a lot of different things instead of just sticking to one thing, just payment posting all day. I work in a private practice and I do some other billing. Okay, good. So yeah, so I mean, I can't say one is better than the other. First of all, can't say one is better than the other. Everybody has their preferences, and I think that that's another thing. That remember that with billing, you have options. You have options, and you can kind of decide what you would like to do. Some people have only worked in the hospitals. Some people have only worked in specific specialties. Now, I've worked in different specialties. I love OBGYN as a specialty. That's the one that I would prefer to do all the time. But I've done ophthalmology. I've done pediatric behavioral health. I've done pain medicine. I've done general surgery. So there are different areas, different specialties. Some people just like to stick to one specialty. But for me, again, I think because I am so interested in learning, so interested in just learning new things. To be honest with you guys, I don't know if you heard my story before, but I never thought I was going to be in billing. That was not what I was going to do. I wanted to be an accountant. I don't know why, but I wanted to be an accountant. And before I wanted to be an accountant, I wanted to do computer science. That's why I got a degree in computer science. But neither one of those pan out. I know a little bit about computers here and there, but when I got into the field of medical billing, and it seems like to me the more I am in it, the more I like to learn about it. So I don't know if that is the same for you all as well, but the more I'm in it, the more I just want to learn more and want to learn more, and so. I don't want to keep you guys too long. Like I said, if what I would like to know, if you can, if you have anything you want me to specifically speak about, talk about, maybe you watch some of my videos and you wanted me to elaborate a little bit more on something, because with those videos, I try not to make them too long, and sometimes it has so much information, and I just don't, you know, I just don't want to make the videos hours and hours long, So if there is something that maybe I touched on and it wasn't clear, I don't know everything. So sometimes, of course, I have to do some research, and, there are different specialties. So I might be, like I said, I have built many years for one specific specialty. And so as I've started to delve into different specialties, I have to learn certain different things. There was a provider that I worked for who didn't take Medicare. And so maybe for about 3 or 4 years, I didn't deal with Medicare. And then I started back with Medicare, and I had to kind of readjust and relearn Medicare, because Medicare has their own special way of doing things. Like you guys know who are in billing, they have a special way of doing things, and I had to get back into that. So you probably will not know everything, and depending on the size of your practice, the specialty of your practice, how your practice does do what they do, because I've worked for one practice and they did, maybe close in one way, and then I worked for another practice and they did close in another way. So even that you have to adjust to, and try to like figure out what you need to do. But I feel when you have a foundation, you can kind of fall in line with anything. Like that's my personal opinion. And that's why I always recommend that you do take a course. I wouldn't say you have to get certified. As that's another question that I get. People ask, do I need to get certified? Um, why should I get certified? And to answer that, you don't, as a biller, as of now, 2023, today, you don't necessarily have to be certified. For the most part, you would not necessarily see a job opening say, we're looking for a certified medical biller. You won't. Because to be honest with you, I still think that a lot of people don't understand the importance of billers. But you would probably more likely see someone say that you need to be certified as a coder. But as a biller, no. But I say that it's important, especially if you decide to take that profession, to take your profession seriously, you would take a course and you would get certified. Because even in being certified, it gives off a sense of accomplishment, confidence. When people see that you are certified, they see that you took the time to invest in yourself and to learn, and they know or assume that you know what you're doing. And then on top of that, which I also think is very important, is the networking. The networking and the having to get your CEUs every 2 years. When you get comfortable and familiar with something, and let's say no one's requiring anything of you, that's why they require CEUs and stuff for doctors and for nurses and for other, professions, because things are always changing and you need to keep up on the times and keep up on the changes. And so that you can stay alert and ready for new things that's happening and innovative things that's going on. So I always say, if you can get to now, if you can't afford it, because let me lay that out there too. It's not free and it's not cheap. So you don't want to get certified and then lose your certification because you can't afford to keep it up. Because it is an investment. So you do have to pay for membership through whatever organization that you go through, that you get certified through. So you probably have to pay something yearly, and then to get the CEUs, there are free CEUs, but there are some that you have to pay for, so you might have to do that as well. So it's like buying a house. Let me reference it to that because I'm in a similar situation. Everyone likes to tell you, buy a house, buy a house, buy a house. Don't rent, buy a house. But they don't tell you what comes along with buying that house, because the house is an investment, as well as the certification is an investment in yourself. But there's more that comes along with that house. You have to, pay taxes and keep it clean and, maintain it, maintenance and all that stuff. And as long as with getting certified, you have to keep it up. You have to pay for it. You have to get your CEUs. Like there's all these things that you have to do when it comes to being certified. So I thank you guys for joining me. Like I said, I don't even know how long I've been on here. I don't want to take up your time, and I need to be more, I need to be more vigilant at scheduling these lives so that you guys can know. So I don't know if you guys could shoot me a comment or something. Let me know when's like a good time when you guys are available, so I can try and see if that's a good time for me as well. And then I can kind of schedule these things to let you guys know. I just sometimes get like a whim or a thought in my mind and say, I'm going to go live. And now my puppy is going crazy out there. So I thank you guys for joining again. And I hope you guys have a good evening. I hope you enjoyed your Easter. I didn't even say that. I hope you enjoyed your Easter. We're back to work or whatever you're doing. You're probably back to doing it now. And I hope you guys enjoyed your Easter. And I will talk to you again, hopefully soon, on a scheduled time. Hopefully. So thank you all for joining so much. Have a good evening.